With more and more people heading back to the office, we've been getting a ton of questions about lunch prep. We got this DM from Allison and her mom Rita in Kitchener, Ontario. They say, we are firm believers in preparing lunches at home to bring to work and avoid takeout, but we seem to be in a rut of making the same thing over and over, and that is wraps. How can we amp up our plain old wrap to something better and still make it easy to prepare? Well, Allison and Rita, have I got the recipe for you. We're gonna take that wrap and we're gonna make it into kind of sort of like a bowl. Because personally, I actually think wraps are kind of hard to make. You gotta wrap them up, you gotta make all those fillings, too many things. Just stick it in a bowl and it'll be delicious. So we are making a delicious bowl of roasted veg and halloumi with some grains and a tahini sauce. Really delish, super tasty. Kind of gives you like takeout vibes, but you made it yourself and you can prep it all on the weekend and have lunch throughout the week. So to get started, I'm gonna get started on my roasted vegetable situation. For a little bit of protein though, I'm gonna add in a can of drained and rinsed chickpeas. I love a chickpea. Fun fact, in our house, we call them chicken peas. I don't know when that started. Is it obnoxious? Maybe, but that's what we call them, and I love them so much. Tons of protein in those babies, good fiber. Now, you wanna make sure they're drained and rinsed and nice and dry, because that's gonna give you like a little bit of crispiness once we roast these babies up. Now, into there, I'm also gonna add in about 3 diced up carrots. And you can switch out carrots with pretty much any sort of hearty vegetable. Even like bell peppers would work beautifully. Zucchini would be great, squash, anything like that. And I'm also gonna add in a diced red onion. But again, whatever onion you keep at home. I'm someone who I've got my like red and white wine, my house red and white. I also have a house red and white onion. The white is usually the yellow ones though, so you know, more of a Chardonnay of the onions, I guess. So we've got that all in a bowl, and into there I'm gonna add in a bit of oil. So just about a tablespoon of olive oil right on into there. Just enough to coat everything, not too much. It's lunch, we're trying to keep things a little healthy. And then to season this up, I'm gonna add in a tablespoon of some grainy Dijon mustard, which is great. You get little pops of those mustard seeds in there. And then a teaspoon and a half of some honey. And honey is great because that's gonna bring a little bit of extra caramelization power into these vegetables. If you wanted, you could use maple syrup. That would also be delicious. Now give that a bit of a season with some salt and pepper. Absolutely wonderful. And if you're not a chickpea person, you can feel free to leave those out. Basically, you just wanna give something roasty and cooked. That's the thing about lunches for me. Sometimes you feel like you can only have a sandwich or something that's raw, but giving yourself something that's roasted and cooked down gives you tons of flavor, really good for these colder months too. Give that a toss up just to combine everything. Get that mustard and honey all over. And if you wanted to here, you could add in some spices. That would be great as well. Just keeping this part plain though, because I'm gonna add spices later. So I'm just gonna transfer those onto a sheet pan, because this is a classic meal prep recipe in that we are using the least amount of dishes possible. We've got one bowl, we got one pan, and we're gonna use a pot, and that's it. I know, right? I don't like doing dishes. All right, so I've just put those into a nice even layer, and I'm gonna pop these into my 400-degree oven for 20 minutes just to start roasting. That's gonna get a little bit of golden brown color on there, really nice and delicious. And while those get going, I'm gonna work on my truly favorite food group, and that is cheese. Because if I can put cheese in something, I'm gonna put cheese in it. So I've got some halloumi here, but if you wanted to, you could also use feta cheese, that would be great. If you've never had halloumi, it is delicious. It is really nice and kind of squeaky and salty and firm. I'm gonna cube this baby up. Now, if you can't find halloumi, you could also use paneer. That would be delicious. Even, yeah, like I said, feta would be great. Any sort of cheese that if you heat it, it doesn't fully melt. It just kind of like softens a little bit. So just dice that baby up, however big or small you'd like. I like big hunks of cheese, as we can tell. Halloumi kind of reminds me of like cheese curds. A little bit of that squeakiness, you know what I'm talking about? I love a cheese curd. If I go to the grocery store and I am at all hungry, I'm buying a bag of cheese curds. And don't tell, I'm snacking on them while I shop, but I pay for the empty bag. So I think that's okay, maybe. Perfect. Now we've got that halloumi. I'm gonna add that right on into that same bowl that I mixed everything else in before. Again, one bowl, we're not messing anything else up. It's all going to the same place anyway. It's gonna be delish. Now into there, I'm gonna add in some greens. I've got about half a bunch of kale here that I've ripped up, and I'm just gonna add that on into the bowl, along with 2 cloves of garlic. Now I'm gonna slice up my garlic because I'm gonna roast this, and I want just nice soft garlic flavor. So just 2 cloves. These are ginormous cloves, so feel free to do 1.5 if you'd like. Right now, I don't know what it is, but garlic is huge. Every time I bought a clove or a head of garlic, it's about the size of like a softball. Not the worst thing in the world, but like a lot of garlic. All right, slice that baby up. And then just add that on into that bowl with that kale and that cheese. And for additional seasoning, I'm also gonna add in some spices. This is where I'm bringing in the spices because I just wanna toast them a little in the oven. So the first thing I need is about a teaspoon of cumin. And cumin is delicious. It's really nice and smoky and kind of lemony. Gives you like good kind of savoriness into anything it touches. Now, half a teaspoon of coriander, ground coriander. And ground coriander is great because it's really nice and kind of lemony. Fun fact, it is the seed of cilantro, but if you don't like cilantro, you still might like coriander. It doesn't have that kind of soapy taste that some people find. Now for a bit of heat, a 1/4 teaspoon of some cayenne pepper, a little bit of salt, and then a little bit of oil in there too. That's just gonna coat everything, just about a tablespoon or 2. Give that a mix up. And because I'm using kale as opposed to something a little more dainty like spinach, I'm just really gonna get in there. The glory of kale is that it is tough. And you wanna like work it. I'm not gonna tell you to massage it though, cause like anytime I've tried to tell my mom that you have to massage kale, she's like, I'm not massaging something unless I'm getting a massage. So I'm gonna stick with her on that one. Just give that a toss up. All right, that's looking beautiful. Now I'm gonna go grab those veg from the oven. They're nice and cooked down and caramelized. Ooh, a little golden brown. They smell so good. That looks absolutely beautiful. Now I'm gonna add all of those greens and that cheese right on top of there. And basically what's gonna happen when I roast this in the oven, that cheese is gonna get a little caramelized. The greens are gonna get a little golden brown and crispy. I'm really quickly, before I pop those in the oven, gonna just start on my grains. I've got 2 cups of water here on the boil. Add in some quinoa, let that go. And I'm gonna turn these veg to that oven, 400 degrees, for about 10 to 15 minutes until that kale is crisp and that cheese is golden brown. Today, I am making veg and halloumi grain bowls with tahini sauce. And I'm very excited about it. Listen, just because you're having lunch at the office doesn't mean that you don't deserve a sauce. I love sauce. Yes, sauce is honestly the spice of life. It's so delicious and wonderful. So I'm gonna make a super quick tahini sauce. It's really, really easy and super tasty. The first thing I need is some garlic and lemon, because most good sauces start with garlic and lemon in my house. Absolutely delish. So the first thing I'm gonna add in is some lemon zest. So I've got my rasp here, and I'm just gonna pass my lemon right on over into a bowl. And anytime I am making anything with lemon, I love to add the zest because there is so much flavor on the outside of this citrus fruit. And it basically tastes like lemon without the acidity. It gives you really nice, bright, kind of yellowy, sunshiny flavor. And if you're checking this out without taking the zest off, you're just throwing money away. And I don't like that. I like saving money or using my money. All right, now I've got that zest in the bowl, and I'm also gonna add in a garlic clove. And unlike with those vegetables, which I sliced that garlic, I'm just gonna rasp it straight on into that bowl as well. Because fun fact, I hate mincing garlic. If you've got a garlic press, feel free to use those. I know a lot of people don't often use those, like on TV, but there's nothing wrong with them. Just crush that garlic up however you wanna crush that garlic up. Perfect. Again, ginormous garlic cloves, so I'm gonna do about half. Add that on in. And now I want the juice of that lemon. So here's one of my tricks. Anytime you get a lemon that's a little bit of a lemon, you know? Too hard, juice isn't coming out. Give it a little bit of a roll on your cutting board. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna break up some of those like inner membranes and make that juice flow even better when you cut it. So, getting every last ounce of juice out of there. So add that on in. Watch out for those pips though. When you get a lemon and it doesn't have seeds in it, boy, oh geez, what a kitchen win that is. I love when that happens. Perfect. So just the juice of a whole lemon. If you want to go with half, feel free, but I love lemon juice. One of my absolute favorites. Perfect. Now into there, I'm gonna add in the tahini. I want about half a cup of tahini, and tahini is like the peanut butter of the sesame world. It's just ground up sesame seeds. It's really nice and delicious. It's super thin and creamy and wonderful. So I'm gonna add that right on into that bowl. It's like so good. Tahini for like sweet and savory things is absolutely delish. And now this is the weird thing about tahini. Since there's so much oil in there, to thicken it up, we wanna add water. And that sounds weird, but what that does is it kind of reacts with the water, it thickens it into a creamy deliciousness. So I'm gonna pop in about 4 tablespoons of water right on into there. I might need to add a little bit more, but give that a whisk together. And it's gonna go from being like this darker tahini color to like slightly lighter. It almost looks kind of creamy. Like, look at how much thicker that is. Like creamy and dreamy and wonderful. But that is thick. So I'm gonna add some more water, which sounds counterintuitive. Water thickens it, but it also thins it. I don't understand. I don't understand the science behind it. I just know it's delicious. This is a great way, though, to make like a vegan creamy dressing. If you're looking for like a vegan Caesar salad dressing, tahini is a great ingredient for that. All right, that looks perfect. Now to season that up, I'm gonna add in a little bit of cumin, just to mimic the spices in those vegetables. And I'm also gonna add in some salt. You can add pepper as well. Really any sort of kind of herb or spice in here would be delicious. Oh my gosh, give that a taste-a-roo. Oh, what a treat that is. If you want even a little honey in there would be great, if a little bit of sweetness. Now I'm gonna plate these babies up, and as opposed to doing it in a classic bowl, this is all about lunch, so I'm gonna do it in a container. So I've got my grains right over here, looking perfectly cooked and beautiful. And if you wanted to, you could do this with quinoa. Well, I'm doing it with quinoa. You could do it with couscous, you could do it with rice, anything you want. Just add that grain right into that bowl. And I like to actually keep it in kind of sides, because sometimes at lunchtime I get a little picky. I might want extra veg, maybe some extra grains. Speaking of those veg, oh my gosh, look at that. That kale is nice and crispy and delicious. Add that on in with all of that halloumi. We're not going shy with halloumi. Just because it's lunch at the office doesn't mean you don't get a lot of cheese. Perfect. Pop that on in. And then some of that dreamy, creamy tahini right on top. Now, for a little bit of freshness, I'm gonna toss on just some fresh mint. You could do cilantro, you could do basil, that would be great as well. And then for a bit of heat, just some thinly sliced chili. This is totally unnecessary, but just because you're having lunch at the office doesn't mean you don't want extra delicious flavor all throughout. Like that to me looks like a dream lunch. It looks like something that you bought at a shop, and I'm feeling very good about it. Now, I'm gonna give this a taste-a-roo. This lasts in your fridge for up to about 5 days, so you're good for the full week. And I'm gonna give it a go. Oh. Oh, that is delicious. Now, I absolutely love getting your questions, so please keep them coming. Just follow along on all social platforms at The Good Stuff CTV and send them on in. I love helping. Hey, Mary here. What did you think? Drop your comments below and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of The Good Stuff.